Hello everybody, so here is Black Angel again and I'm here to talk to you about the vulnerable function. So I'm going to try to be quick about this thing because I'm studying other things and I only wanted to share this thought. So before I want to make a little bit of introduction to this thing. The vulnerable function is a concept that we find in socionics and it's that function that we never use. Now, it is not correct to say that we never use a function because that would be almost pathological. But it is true that there is one function that we avoid using and we haven't developed over time. And we're not going to ever develop because that's so far from our being that it's going to just get in the way of who we are. So this function is the vulnerable function. How can I explain this concept and how it exists? So a lot of Eastern disciplines say that in a range of thousands of possible skills, we can develop one very well, a second one possibly, and if we're lucky, a third one in life. Um, I do not agree completely with that, but anyway, that is also confirmed by psychological studies and by neuroscience. In fact, what happens is that through the experiences and choices that we make over in our life, uh, our brain develops in a specific direction, leaving out and cutting all the parts that are not useful. What does it mean? It means that, for example, a musician is probably going to be good in maths because of the affinity that there is between the two things, but they're probably never going to be a great socializer, for example. Great at socializing. Why? Because a musician to perform perfectly needs hours and hours and hours and hours of training. So that's just to name one, and it's one example that could not possibly could go another way, for example. So the choices that we make in our life and what we give precedence to, what we put before everything else, is going to form and shape the person we are. This also means that there are things that we're not going to give importance to. We're not going to consider important for our development and for our goals. So for the choices that we're making. And that thing that we never used because we didn't consider it important, or anyway, we only randomly and very rarely used, that thing is the vulnerable function. And it's one thing that really gets in the way of who we are. So what I want to share with you is how it feels to use the vulnerable function. You're using your vulnerable function when you get this kind of feeling. Now, I'm trying to explain something that is very difficult for me to explain, but I think it's important for you to understand that feeling when it happens. But anyway, it's kind of, when you have kind of diarrhea and you poop all day through and you kind of feel like you want to barf because you want to stop pooping. Sorry for the example, but it's the best one that I could come up with. That's pretty much how it feels to use the vulnerable function. It's like you're forced to do this weird thing and you're in pain doing that and you just want to do something bad or something that makes you feel bad but not as bad as that just because you want to change. So that's pretty much how it feels, and it can leave you a sense of emptiness, unfulfillment. It can make you feel like you're going against yourself, and it can even, if it's protracted in time, it can even make you feel that you're unworthy, that you don't exist, that you're a useless and meaningless being. So that's the affect that the vulnerable function has on us, and yeah, I think the best way to explain it is that kind of feeling when you have And when you caught a virus and you're pooping all day through, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I can't poop anymore, I want to barf. That kind of feeling there. And it normally comes out like after 5 minutes or six, like immediately. The moment you start using that function for whatever reason, you're going to start feeling that way. It makes you angry, it makes you uncomfortable, it makes you feel really, really, really bad about the situation, about yourself, and about everything. And if it's protracted, like for example, a parent that is forcing that function on you, um, then it's going to be um, extremely bad, extremely negative for the person. Like I said, it can really harm your self-esteem and your idea and view of yourself. So I thought this was interesting to share. Please do not use this information to type yourself or to categorize yourself, because personal experience, it doesn't help. But anyway, when you feel that feeling there, you can get a sense of, okay, I'm probably using that famous function. Let me step back a moment and take time out of this situation. Do not throw yourself in that kind of situation, because it's harming yourself psychologically. That's what I'm trying to say. So I use the vulnerable function to say it because that's what it is. But don't use that to type yourself. That's not going to help. So this is everything I have, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.